Hello and welcome back to my book report on Dragon Rider. I decided I'm going to do something a little different. I am going to do a live reading today. Instead of putting game footage over this, I've decided that I'm just going to read the chapter out loud, skip any boring stuff, and just actively comment on the book as I read it. It could be fun. It could be fun. It could be a dud. You never know. Two things. So Sorrel the brownie, I imagine looking a lot different. That's Sorrel right there. There we go. That's Sorrel right there. Sorrel looks more like a cat than a brownie. When I think of a brownie, I think of like a little fur ball. I don't think of a cat person. This dragon on the front cover is beautiful. But I learned recently that there was a movie based on Dragon Rider made, and the dragon looks like...
Ready? Ready.
Stupid. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Let us read chapter 3, which is only like 4 pages long. So I don't think I really covered chapter 2. Rat tells the dragons that the humans are going to flood their valley for some reason. Maybe they want to make a water park there. I have no idea. All the dragons are very upset about this. It is said that there is a place where they can go called the Rim of Heaven. There is a place called the Rim of Heaven where the dragons have always been able to go and have always been safe. But it is said by a very old dragon, and everyone's like, the place probably isn't even real. He's just old and believes things that aren't real. And Fire Drake decides that he is going to be the one to go and find the Rim of Heaven. And then when he does find it, he'll come back to the valley and bring the dragons with him. And for some reason, Sorrel is going along as well. Sorrel doesn't have to go along, but we need a funny sidekick to join us in this adventure. So that's why Sorrel is involved. Oh yeah, Slatebeard, the old dragon, tells Fire Drake. He tells Fire Drake that he knows a little bit about where it might be, and to come to his cave where he will tell him more information about the Rim of Heaven. And that's where chapter 3 starts. It starts with Slatebeard, a big sleepy dragon, old sleepy dragon, laying in his cave and telling Fire Drake and Sorrel things about the Rim of Heaven. I'm just going to interrupt before I even start reading and say that I love the concept of a big sleepy dragon. When I was younger, I had like a fan that would blow into my bed while I was sleeping, and it would like puff up the quilt and like make me feel like I was sleeping in a big cave, and I would pretend I was a big dragon sleeping in the cave. I'm not lying, I actually did that. And you might think like, oh, you are like, that's a cute thing for an 8-year-old to do. I was 18. So I guess technically I was a child. Alright, this is a short chapter. Literally is less than 4 pages. Let us start. Chapter 3, Advice and Warnings. Slatebeard was lying at the mouth of his cave, listening to the rain when they arrived. "You haven't changed your mind?" he asked when Fire Drake lay down beside him on the rocky ground. The young dragon shook his head. "But I won't be alone. Sorrel's coming with me." Well, The old dragon looked at Sorrel. Good, she may come in useful. She knows human beings. She has a quick mind, and brownies are more suspicious by nature than dragons, which won't be any bad thing on this journey of yours. Her big appetite could be a problem, but no doubt she'll get used to eating less. Sorrel looked anxiously down at her stomach. Wah, wah. Listen then, Slatebeard said again. Fine, I'll do the voice. Listen then, Slatebeard said. I don't really remember very much. These days the pictures get more and more muddled in my mind, but I do know this. You must fly to the highest mountain range in the whole world. It lies far away in the east. And when you get there, you must find the rim of heaven. No shit. Look for a chain of snow-covered peaks encircling a valley like a ring of stone. As for the blue flowers growing in the valley, he said, closing his eyes, their fragrance hangs so heavy in the cold night air that you can taste it. He sighed. My memories are faded now, as if they were lost in the mist, but it's a wonderful place. His head sank to his paws. He closed his eyes and his breath came more slowly. There was something else, he murmured, about the eye of the moon, but I don't remember what. The eye of the moon? Sorrel leaned towards him. I don't want to do a voice for Sorrel. I fucking hate Sorrel. The eye of the moon? The eye of the moon? What's that? But Slatebeard only shook his head sleepily. I don't remember, he murmured, but beware, he said, his voice so soft that they could barely hear it. Beware of the golden one. Then a snore emerged from his muzzle. Firedrake straightened up, looking thoughtful. What did he mean by that? Asked Sorrel anxiously. Come on, we better wake him up again and ask him. But Firedrake shook his head. Let him sleep. I don't think he can tell us any more than he's told us already. They left the cave quietly, and when Firedrake looked up at the sky, the moon was visible for the first time that night. Oh, good, so said Sorrel, holding her paw up in the air. At least it stopped raining. Suddenly, she clapped herself on the forehead. Oh, fearsome fungi! She swiftly slipped off Firedrake's back. I must pack some provisions. How do we know there won't be mushroom shortages where we're going? Back in a moment, and don't you dare, she added menacingly, wagging a furry finger in Firedrake's face. Don't you dare even think of starting without me. I don't understand why Sorrel wants to go so bad. Maybe they'll reveal that later. With that, she disappeared into the dark. Now listen, Firedrake, said the rat anxiously. You really don't know much about what you're looking for. You're not used to navigating by the stars, and Sorrel's mind is usually so full of mushrooms that she could get north and south mixed up and confuse the moon with the evening star. No, it won't do. Should I try a voice for the rat? No, it won't do. Rat stroked her whiskers and looked at the dragon. You need help, believe you me. As it happens, a cousin of mine makes maps, very special maps. He may not know exactly where the rim of heaven is, but he can certainly tell you where to find the highest mountain range in the world. Stop off and see him on the way. I have to admit, visiting him isn't entirely without its risks, said the rat, wrinkling her brow, because he lives in a big city, but I think you ought to chance it. If you set off soon, you can be there in 2 nights' time. City? The indistinct figure of Sorrel emerged from the mist. For goodness sake, must you scare me to death? Asked Rat. Yes, that's right. My cousin lives in a human city. When you've left the sea behind you, keep flying eastward inland, and you can't miss it. It's a huge, 100 times larger than this valley, and full of bridges and tall buildings. My cousin lives in an old warehouse on the river. Does he look like you? Asked Sorrel, stuffing a few leaves into her mouth. She was carrying a bulging backpack which she had brought back from one of her excursions to the world of human beings. Yes, of course he does. You rats all look the same. Gray, gray, and gray again. Gray is a very practical color, spat the rat. Unlike your silly spots, as it happens, however, my cousin is white. Snow white. He wishes he wasn't. Do stop squabbling, said Firedrake, looking up at the sky. The moon was now almost at its height, and if they were to set out that night, it was time to leave. Climb aboard, Sorrel, he said. Shall we take Rat too, to give you someone to quarrel with? No, thanks. Rat took a couple of small steps backwards in alarm. There's no call for that kind of thing. I'm perfectly happy to know the world at second hand. It's a lot safer. I've never quarreled with anyone anyway, Sorrel mumbled, with her mouth full as she clambered up onto the dragon's back. Pointy-nosed persons are oversensitive. Firedrake spread his wings, and Sorrel hastily clutched one of the large spines on his crest. Look after yourself, Rat, the dragon said, bending his neck to nuzzle the little animal affectionately. It's going to be some while before I'll be back to keep you safe from wild cats. I was just listening to an audiobook of the first Warriors book, and now it mentioned wild cats, so like it has to be a reference to Warriors. Then he stepped back, took off from the damp ground, and rose into the air, beating his wings powerfully. Oh no, groaned Sorrel, clinging on so tight that her furry fingers hurt. Firedrake rose higher and higher into the dark sky, and a cold wind whistled around the brownie girl's pointed ears. I'll never get used to this, she muttered, not unless I start growing feathers. She peered down cautiously at the valley below. None of them, she grumbled. Not a single one has so much as to put his neck out of this cave to say goodbye. That's a hard sentence to read out loud. None of them, she grumbled. Not a single one has so much as to put his neck out of his cave to say goodbye. Oh, it's like none of the dragons are like seeing them off. It's unceremoniously just leaving. They probably won't come out until they're up to their chins in water. Hey, Firedrake, she called to the dragon. I know a nice little spot over there beyond those hills. Why don't we stick around here instead? But Firedrake did not reply, and the black hills rose between him and the valley where he had been born. Okay, so that's chapter 3. So they have a destination to go to now, I guess is the main point of the chapter. So they have somewhere to go now. They're gonna go to a city to find a white rat that makes maps. Is it normal for fantasy creatures to be like racist towards each other? Sorrel is very like, rats are so blah blah blah. I guess I also noticed that Firedrake doesn't have much of a personality yet. He's just kind of like, alright, let's go do this thing. I guess you can come along if you want. Stop arguing, let's just go. I guess that makes him determined. But there's not much of a hero's journey going on, I guess. They just establish that the dragon has to go out and find whatever it is that he needs to find, the rim of heaven. But first, I like the idea of reading these chapters out loud, but it's very exhausting for me. Like, I get very winded, but at the same time, I'm probably not gonna, like, I literally, like, open the book up in my bed, and then I I conk out. Like, that's not because of the book itself, it's just because it's a book. I just associate reading with going to sleep. And maybe that's just a character trait of mine. I'm not a night reader. I tried to think of a clever word to replace with reader. Like, I'm not a nighttime reader, I'm a daytime reader. I like coming up with little rhymes. It's very fun. And right now, I just can't think of one. There are 57 chapters, my goodness. Reading out loud and reading internally are their own different skill sets. And reading out loud is very difficult for me. So, I guess that's the end of the video. I'm gonna go out of focus.